Hello everybody, I'm Aura Colón. This activity corresponds the final activity to the course Pedagogical Practicas Online Environment. So, my research project was about didactic strategy by ITC to improve a skill in learning process. So, I'm going to show my poster. So motivate virtual learning and improve their skill. The research project, didactic strategy, and activity are applied to motivate students in a virtual learning environment to improve their oral and writing expression. So in my research, I use different strategies and didactic activity like a Who, like a interactive, like Educa Play, and something like that to improve a skill to the student. My practice was applied to the student in level 0. Objective: to improve a student writing skill, to improve a student speaking skill, to foster in an online learning to environment and activity practice for improve their process. So, in my pedagogical practice, I use different strategies. I have the conversation with different students to using different strategy and doing the feedback the student immediately. That was an excellent process to my practical pedagogical. I continue. So, what is the content? The content was in an online environment. I did two different practicas environment. The first was in the cool pedagogical practice and the other was in the cool prácticas pedagógicas mediadas por las TIC. I have two different courses or different groups, no A and B. In that school, I have 5 students, and the other group, number B, I have 6 students. I have to say that I had some problem with the assistant in one of a session, the group number B. So in this session, only assistant 3 or 4 students, not all the students. I have to mention that. So, what is the most important here? Overview of methodology framework. I have to prepare the first like learning process, like contents, like necessity for improved skill to the student. Implementing phases. Schedule session, focusing aspects in writing and speaking. In my session, I usually apply different activities to the student to improve writing and oral skill. I have 2 moments to practice the conversation with the other student and they have to practice with classmates. So, the other moment, I take some minutes to do different activity online and I have the feedback immediately. Was a really important moment in the session. Interactive game. So in Educa Play, interactive or Kahoot, the students have the opportunity to practice their different activity or the different topic that I explained before. Real world scenario was the content is so important. I usually apply a real vocabulary, a real moment to the student practice their skill. Peer learning. The student have the opportunity to talk one on other and together have practice the conversation, the vocabulary, and something like that. So, personal learning. In the different activities like video, like games, like writing skill, a student have to practice and have to uh, get their interest to practice English. I think it's was important to motivate to the student to practice. I used authentic material, I something like that, and regular feedback is was so important to this process. So motivate is so important to the student stay interesting or get interesting to the process, the learning process, because the most of a student um, don't be interesting because the motivating to practice English is so difficult. They say that when have to practice English, they have a scary to the pronunciation, to the write, to talk in English. Theoretical foundation, for this moment, I think it's important to the context, to the practice with the student. I use the theory like Payet and Vygotsky. They are the important to the participation and construct knowledge. Methodology foundation. Was about um, research projects, about quality research. I did observation and one surveys, interviewed, and something like that, like student. Result. Increased motivation was the principal result in the class. A student may display graded and a participation and engage an interactive activity, a school improvement. They in the whole session, a student can practice their skill like writing and talk, and they show a really important process to practice their English. So, conclusion. This strategy provides a robust engaged student and virtual English language learning environment fostering the language skill and confidence, combining construction and CLT theories with interactive virtual environment. So, the virtual environment and use different strategies like use app or use games or different apps to practice English was a really important to the English process learning. So I chose some reference like Elliot and Richard and Duncan. That's all. This is my presentation to my poster research. Bye.